YouTube, coming at you with another War Thunder video. And as the title would say, this video is going to be about why the Centauro is broken. I'm not going to talk about it too long. I'm just going to show some examples and just pretty much get my opinions out there, and then get into the final what needs to be done to fix this. And it's an obvious thing, but we'll save that for the very end on what I believe needs to be done to fix this vehicle. But anyways, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the stat card. You got the 105mm Auto Melara 105 cannon. This thing, it's got a really strong gun for its BR. The 105 definitely does some pretty good work. We'll go ahead and look at the modifications real quick. You start out with an APDS, and you all know, well, I absolutely hate APDS, but you know, it does the job. It gets the job done for the most part. I've been seeing some weird new mechanics where the shell will actually shatter on the side of vehicles, but anyways, it just added another reason why I can't stand APDS. But the hash seems to be doing pretty good. I've taken out quite a few vehicles with the hash, and it, you know, just does the job just fine. And then of course you're going to be getting the Heat FS, which is down into the tier 4 unlock. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it for the ammo. We'll go ahead and talk about the speed of this thing, and then we'll get into the armor on it, and why I believe it's so difficult to kill this thing. So anyways, you got a max speed of 110 kilometers an hour. You could get this thing into positions that most other vehicles that carry around a 105 cannon cannot get to. And I would argue to say that all vehicles that have a 105mm cannon cannot get to where the Centauro needs to be. So that in and of itself makes this vehicle extremely lethal and difficult to deal with. And I think the biggest issue right now as it stands is that it does not die in one hit. And here's an example of it.
Attention to the designated grid square.
Oh my goodness. What? Come on.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
Oh my god, this thing is so ridiculous. So you could argue that that M60 was shooting poorly, but I would argue the other way, is that he actually shot fairly decently to begin the engagement. He had 2 solid shots into the front portion of my vehicle, but the reason being that it's so hard to take down, and we'll look at the x-ray right now, is that it's so spaced out, right? We're gonna get into another issue with the turret, but anyways, as you can tell, the crew member are fairly spread out when it comes from driver to gunner to loader and then to the commander. So taking side shots in this thing, you're gonna survive more often than not. Taking front shots as well, you're going to survive more often than not, and we'll get into that right now with the armor. So you would be correct in assuming that this vehicle, that you know, it's lightly skinned, right? It's only a 25-ton vehicle, right? So you got 35mm plate here, which is fairly large target to hit. But if you look at the x-ray, you're going to be hitting the engine, you're going to be hitting the transmission, you have the potential to be hitting fuel tanks, which soak up a lot of damage, and then you have the potential of hitting just the driver, and the driver soaking up all the damage, correct? We all know how War Thunder damage mechanics work in game. Whenever you have large objects in the way, especially at this BR, they soak up a lot of damage. And it would seem that explosive filler does very minimal damage frontally to this vehicle as well. And there's another issue that this vehicle, I don't really see it as an issue per se. It's the angling of the armor. So you have 44 degrees here. You have an 80-degree angle on this upper plate here. And a lot of times you're going to take bounces off of this extreme angling or extreme slope, right? The side is extremely angled and sloped. So a lot of munitions that is fired at you is going to take the slope into account, and it's going to cause either a deflection or it's going to minimize the amount of damage that it does to your vehicle. I know that shell mass and all that can overmatch when it comes to it, but even when this thing is overmatched and or the armor is overmatched, the damage inside is minimal due to the spaciousness of the vehicle. That brings me to another issue with this vehicle, and I'll show an example of that right now. Look at that, I got hit in the ammo. It did not fucking kill me. Getting direct hits into your ammo storage. Right? You just saw it. I was hit directly in the ammo, and all it did was turn it red. I believe they need to do something about... So we'll just get into an issue that needs to be reworked here with the ammo. It doesn't matter what ammo you take out. You could be taking out HESH specifically. You could be taking out... I don't know about heat yet because I don't have it. But from my experience, it doesn't matter the ammo type that you take out. You're not going to be getting an ammo rack on this thing. I have not been ammo racked in this yet. That needs to be reworked, and I think that's an oversight on their part. It really needs to be looked at. But anyways, like I said, here's another example of taking a direct hit and then being able to continue the fight, where in most other vehicles I wouldn't be able to.
Attack the A point!
Oh my god. Now that first engagement, of course, I had to drop on that vehicle. But the second one he had to drop on me. Started me on fire, and I was able to return fire just fine. And the other one was interesting, to say the least. My barrel was sticking through that tree. But anyways, we're going to get into the other issue with this vehicle that needs to be reworked, and it's almost in line with another vehicle that was broken in game. And that was the IS-6. Remember the IS-6 with its giant fucking black hole optics? Well, this vehicle has these giant optics that sit perfectly in front of your crew members. And of course you got optics here. I'm telling you guys, shooting this thing in the turret, granted, may net you a destroyed cannon breach, but this thing's still going to be able to move, get to cover, repair itself, come back out, and end your game. These optics are an issue, and I think that's another thing that Gaijin needs to look at when designing a vehicle. They put all of these objects in front of crews, and it doesn't act as if it would in real life, because this honestly, it's not even ballistic steel, you know. These objects that are inside vehicles should not be soaking up as much damage as they do. And now, granted, you know, in real life, certain things can happen to where it will save crew, but it seems more often than not, whenever these things are added into the game, they become almost your force field for your crew members. And even crew members become force fields for other crew members. But yeah, all of this shit that sits in front of the crew members, whenever you fire on the turret, you're going to be hitting these optics. And it's going to be saving the crew from taking the damage that they should be rightfully receiving. What needs to be done, the final thing that will absolutely fix this vehicle, and I'm sure everyone would agree, whoever's gone up against this and whoever's playing this thing, it needs hull brake. It absolutely needs hull brake. It's only a 25-ton vehicle. It's very thinly skinned. Every other light reconnaissance vehicles that we have in the game have a hull brake mechanic, and this one needs it as well, especially being that it's such a large cannon. It's such a large reconnaissance anti-tank cannon. It needs this hull brake. The speed brings it into positions that most other large caliber weapons cannot get to early game. This thing already has all the advantages it needs. It needs a disadvantage. It needs the hull brake mechanic. And I hope Gaijin, or whoever, I hope somebody sees this video and you know, takes into account from an experienced player, or all of us from the community in general. Everyone's bitching about this vehicle. This needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed because it's kind of ruining 7.7 as it stands. Like I said, here's an example of me. I've gotten to the point where I'm so confident that taking shots will not outright kill me. I drive in front of vehicles that need help. And here's an example of that.
Attention to the designated grid zone. Il nemico si sta preparando per uno Il nemico si appresta a sparare alla nostra piazza. Preso.
So, like I said, in closing, this thing needs hull brake. It needs to be fixed. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not really having too much fun playing it. I'm only playing it to spade it out at the moment. And yeah, I did throw a talisman on it, which helped me get the M47, which I'll be doing a video on that here shortly because it has a 105mm auto Melara cannon as well. But yeah, fix this, please, Gaijin. I hope somebody from Gaijin sees this and takes this into account and listens to the community, especially from someone who's playing it. This thing's broken. All right, folks. I'll see you all in the next one. Laters.